Hey friends, it's Ryan with The Psychic Lawyer. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the lunar eclipse in Libra. Today is March 25th and the lunar eclipse occurred earlier this morning. I'm on Central Time in the United States. So what does this eclipse mean? I'm going to go through all 12 signs, pick a tarot card for each sign, and give the prediction. Eclipses, generally speaking, are big endings and big beginnings. It's the sun and the moon, the luminaries. So it has a lot to do with seeing something, are on polar opposite sides of each other. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and Libra is the seventh. So it has a lot to do with you individually and your partnerships. Partnerships include work relationships, the markets, justice, balancing of the scales. Libra is also known as justice. Ruled by Venus. The opposite side, Aries, is ruled by Mars. Mars is very much about winning the war, going to battle, winning a fight, being the first, strength, agility. There's connotations here of like very masculine type energy. And on the opposite side is the masculine form of Venus, which is Libra. So we got some very masculine energies at play here. And both have a lot to do with courts, the markets, and then the luminaries, seeing something. So moon is an indication of home, family, self-protection, country, what we consider home, the homeland overall. Moon is also an indication of growth. Remember, moon exalts in Taurus, and Taurus is a place of plants, animal life, possessions, resources, gold, very much associated with gold. So look for those themes over the next couple of weeks, because 2 weeks from now we'll have the solar eclipse, which a lot of people are talking about on April 8th. So I actually think this lunar eclipse is going to be more important because typically speaking, well, not typically, when we go through eclipse season, we always have a new moon, solar eclipse, and then sometimes the lunar eclipse 2 weeks later, or sometimes we start out with a lunar eclipse followed by a solar eclipse. In this case, we're starting with a lunar eclipse, which is essentially a full moon on steroids. It's with the nodes of the moon, so it's very karmic in nature. North node, increase, that's what I always think of it, is kind of an increase of sorts. And then south node is decrease. Something is decreasing in light, or maybe it's coming to light, depending on your own situation. So the luminaries are always showing us something here. Aries is fights, being first, showing masculine proudness. Libra tends to be a little bit softer, but it has to do with the markets moving around. It's an air sign, so it has more to do with people, whereas Aries is fire. Has a lot to do with seeing, so remember that, fire is seeing. So these themes are going to come up for everybody, but depending on what house it's in, for you personally, that's where you can look for big changes over the next 6 months or so. But we're starting out with a lunar eclipse with the south node. It's taking something down, something's coming to light. And then 2 weeks from now on the 8th, something new is being planted. Now, sun and moon are very much connected to leaders out in our society. So it could be our political leaders, business leaders, male, female, doesn't really matter, but you'll see a lot of that happening. Traditional astrology talks a lot about eclipses being kind of a bad omen for kings and queens. So we just saw this news come out about the Princess of Wales having cancer. K2 is something unseen. K2 is something spiritual, something that has to be let go, something that needs to be released. It will give you liberation, freedom of some type when you decide to release something. So think about what's in the house. If there's something in the house that needs to be released, something about home, property, family, think about those themes. Something that just needs to be released, because that is the way through this, is a release first, followed by planting the seeds for something new for yourself. So it's cord cutting, it's relationship cutting. Libra is about relationships, all types of relationships. So something about a relationship is coming to an end, essentially. And eclipses just take things out automatically. So let's go through the 12 signs. I'm going to pull a card for each sign. The ruler of this eclipse, we look to where the moon is at. It's in Libra. So the ruler of this particular eclipse would be Venus. Venus is in Pisces, in her exalted sign. Let's talk about Pisces just for a little bit. So Pisces is known as the end. It's the culmination of the 12 signs. And it's the two fishes going in opposite directions. It's kind of like a recycling of sorts. And that's kind of how I think about it. Something is ending so something can be reborn in Aries. It's a recycling of sorts. And Venus has a lot to do with that. This is where Venus exalts, because this is where Venus is free. Venus can be herself or himself, however you want to see it, the most in Pisces. It's formlessness. So if you're putting too much emphasis on form, which is the exact opposite sign, Virgo, it's the most earthly out of all the signs, you're going to get hit by this. It's going to hit you more. So if we're very engrossed in the material world right now, and you're seeing this happen with Donald Trump, right? We're seeing this happen with Boeing. If you're engrossed in the material world and you're concerned just about money, looks, finances, having the biggest house, having the most money in your bank account, this is going to hurt, because moon is growth, right? Moon exalts, like I said, moon exalts in Taurus, and it's coming down to K2 and the sign of Libra. It's taking things down. So we just heard that Donald Trump's bond of $464 million just got reduced down to $175 million, right? That's a perfect example of the courts, because Libra is also the courts, the scales of justice. You know, if it's justice or not, that's up to the viewers to decide here. But you can see the numbers are being taken down. So it also has a lot to do with this emphasis on form, and what does form actually look like. And I think what the planet of law, Venus, is always teaching us is that you got to look to the heart first and foremost. Look to the heart of is this person a good person? Is the situation good for me? Do I feel right in a particular relationship, or am I sacrificing too much? Am I letting things slide too much to keep the peace, right? Because that's a very Aries Libra dynamic overall. The negotiator and the fighter, right? And how do you balance the two? Oftentimes you'll see with Libra that they have a hard time making decisions. That's a very Libran quality. Whereas Mars, Aries, tends to make quick decisions, very impulsive. It doesn't always think things through. So you can see where this Aries Libra dynamic can get people in trouble. It leads to arguments and everything else. So, but Moon is an indication of family, home, what gives us nourishment, growth, generally speaking, economies. Sun is leaders, so watch out for news with leaders. We're seeing that a lot right now across the world. So it's not surprising that this stuff is making the news right now. Mercury right now is also in Aries and is going to retrograde in just a couple weeks here. So, Mercury is words. It's what we're thinking about. It's business. In Aries, it's fights. So fighting words. I think what a good way to get through this eclipse season is clean out the house. It's spring cleaning. You just had this spring equinox. Go through the house and start taking out things you don't need, because K2 is, the south node of the moon, is things that can be discarded, things that are done, things that you did in a past life, things that you don't need anymore, things that will lighten the load, lighten the burden, so to speak. Now, in Vedic This particular full moon is going to happen in Virgo, but I want to talk about the nakshatra first. It's going to happen in Hasta. Hasta is ruled by Moon. It's right in the center of Virgo, and Hasta has a lot to do with intelligence agencies because it's Virgo. Virgo is intelligent, but also has to do with the hand. So it has something to do with the hand, and it means to grasp or to hold, or it's the fist. So you'll see a lot about fighting, master manipulators, to be quite honest, right? And how we use our hands. Are we being underhanded about something that you can't see because K2 is things unseen, right? So things coming to light. Unseen growth, right? That's Cancer. That's what happened with Kate, right? It's because Moon is growth. K2 is things unseen. You can see how the different archetypes are going to play out here. What I was going to mention about Venus is in Pisces. Venus is 6 signs away from the moon, where this is happening. So the 6th house has to do with conflict. The 6th house has to do with health. And that's why I was getting into this whole thing with Vedic astrology with the hand. So pay attention to the hand, cuts on the hand. How are you using your hands to help people? Are you helping people? Or are you being manipulative? Or is it other people being manipulative? Hasta is also associated with the crow. So it's, think about what crows and vultures do. After something's dead, it picks it apart, serves a purpose. All the bits and pieces are left. So it has a lot to do with analyzing and getting down to the nitty gritty. And then the opposite side of that is Pisces, which is something ethereal in nature that it cannot be understood. It has a lot to do with airplanes too. On the Vedic side, K2 rules airplanes 100%. So we're seeing this whole thing with the Boeing CEO step aside. It's not surprising that we're seeing a lot of things come up with business leaders and political leaders over the next couple of weeks, especially on that solar eclipse. So, but we won't necessarily know what the result of that solar eclipse is going to be for potentially 6 months after it, because it takes a while. If we have a solar eclipse first, followed by a lunar, which means the darkening of the light on the solar eclipse, and then 2 weeks later we have the lunar, where we can see fully because moon is consciousness. It's the exact opposite this time. We're going through the lunar first. So we have a full moon, something's coming to an end, followed by a very big beginning that's going to take 6 months to unfold. Well, that takes us to about October, November. And if you live in the United States, that's election season. So you can imagine that it's probably having something to do with the 2 candidates for office, if I had to take a guess. So those are the themes to look out for on this eclipse season. Not easy. Not easy at all. So, let's see what's going on for each sign. We're going to start with Aries. Aries, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse happening with you and your 7th house. It's you and your partners, you and the public, you and your customers at work. The 7th house is also your open enemies, so be aware of that too. 7th house is known as a Marka house in Vedic astrology. It's an ending of some type, sometimes too. So it's the house of the setting sun. The sun right now is in Aries, so you could be feeling hot, just generally speaking, about something. Also remember that here the sun exalts, so sun is a warrior too, and it's doing the right thing. The sun is about dharmic action, doing the right thing, and this applies specifically to you, Aries and Libra. In this case, the universe is testing you, so let's see if you can do the right thing. But something about relationships, possibly home, because moon is here. Moon is your 4th house. Moon rules Cancer. It's your 4th house of home, family. Maybe there's a move. Someone's moving for work. Partner's moving out, moving in. More likely moving out because K2 isn't ending. It's taking something down. So remember that. K2 is also associated with the flag. So there could be things about flags coming up here as well. Remember that. So let's see what's going on with you, Aries. Look to partnerships. This one could be a little bit more difficult. It's a card. Chariot. Oh, well, we just talked about home, right? The Chariot is a house, a card of the moon. You'll see that the charioteer here is wearing the moon here on his shoulders. There could be a change in house, change in residence. This is also moving. This is also like being on the move, vehicles, generally speaking. So you could have something come up with vehicles here. Venus in the 12th could be needing to buy a new vehicle, needing to buy a new house, a sudden change, right? But the Chariot is a victory. So if things are a little bit difficult right now, give it some time, get through eclipse season. If you have to move, you have to move. There's nothing you can do about that. If you're contemplating a move, I would wait till after the eclipses are done. Things tend to change pretty dramatically during this time. So Chariot, it's a victory, but it has a lot to do with something with the house or vehicles, right? Because the Chariot is a moving vehicle in and of itself, but it has a lot to do with home. So I bet some of you are moving, if I had to take a guess. Do you give it some time though, Aries, because eclipses just tend to move things around anyway. So, or it's you needing to move. Just generally speaking, move around, move more, getting back into a exercise routine, taking your health more seriously. That is another way to interpret this particular eclipse and the Chariot. Taurus, the Libra lunar eclipse is occurring in your 6th house. Libra is 6 signs past Taurus. The 6th house has to do with conflict, divorce, your health, your routine, healing. Those are common themes with that 6th house. Look to your routine. It also has to do with pets. So, 6th house is not easy. It's those things that burden us, things that we have to deal with every single day. Perhaps something is being taken out because the K2 in Libra takes things down. Something is ending with a lunar eclipse. So, in that case, look to health, look to ending bad habits, things that are keeping you locked in a way of thinking that it's not necessarily healthy for you. Moon is mind, so maybe it's a thought pattern that needs to go. Look to health, look to conflict, maybe ending. That could be on the positive side. 3rd house, which Cancer moon rules your 3rd house of Cancer. Those are siblings, competitors, marketing and selling, your local environment, and the mind. So some of you just might be going crazy over something right now, being kind of obsessive. So I would say, again, the remedy here is clean up the house, get rid of things that you don't need. Shoes, actually, would be a good thing to donate. So if you have extra shoes laying around, not a bad idea to donate those. Feet is related to Pisces, and that's where the ruler of Libra is sitting right now in Pisces. Pisces is associated with feet. So if you got some extra shoes that you're not wearing, maybe that will help your karma out if you're going through a hard time. So, Taurus. Let's see what the universe has for you. 10 of Wands. So we talked about the 6th house being about burdens, your daily routine. This is the end of a cycle. The 10 is at the very end. So it's the man holding all the sticks. It's a heavy load. And he's headed to the house, right? He's headed back home. It might be a homecoming, a return to home of some type for you. family coming home. But it's the man wanting to put down the sticks after kind of a heavy time. So maybe some of you are putting down, some of you, what I'm hearing is that some of you need to see something. So Wands energy is fire. Again, we talked about the luminaries being on opposite sides of each other. It's about seeing something, seeing what's weighing you down. If there's something that you're just carrying around that's been a burden that you don't really need to be carrying anymore, it's time to let that go. And again, K2 is a moksha karka. So that means liberation, freedom. Something is going to give you freedom by letting something else go, right? Think about your daily routine, bad habits. Those will absolutely weigh you down. But the good news is this is the end. This is the end of the cycle for you, Taurus. So I like that overall. All right, Gemini. Lunar eclipse is going to occur in your 5th house. Libra is 5 signs past Gemini. The 5th house has to do with children, fun, education, entertainment. It has a lot to do with pleasure and romance, and sometimes even love affairs. So Gemini, maybe some of you are thinking about or finishing up an education course. Some of you are maybe thinking about returning to improve some skills overall with education, and you got to go back to school for that. Others of you, this could deal with family, children, having issues with kids overall. Maybe it's finally something's coming to an end here, right? So that it's not always the worst thing. Others of you are going to be dealing with dating situations, people that you're seeing. Maybe you haven't been seeing each other for very long and something's coming to light now and you're maybe thinking twice about it. Give it some time, but if it's done, it's done, right? There's no point in holding on to it. It's the 5th house can be hard. Sometimes love affairs come up here too, so just be aware of that. The 5th house is also where you meet partners, long-term partners down the road, so it's not always like the worst thing. Some of you might find out you're pregnant too, so that 5th house has a lot to do with pregnancy. Let's see what universe has to say for Gemini. Page of Cups. This is definitely a younger person, could be a child, could be news of children. Cups, with the fish here, it's abundance. Could be an apology too. This is an apology card to me, but it's definitely a message coming in. It's an emotional one at that. And maybe you just need to have a one-on-one conversation and just sit down and talk things through. But I think you'll find that it's a fluid conversation, right? Because there's water here and emotions are running high. So be sure that you're keeping grounded a little bit here. Gemini, you can be a little bit fickle. So emotions are not always your strong point, but in this case, you might need to have a one-on-one conversation or an apology for that matter. Cancer, this is going to be a difficult one for you. Moon is your ruler, being eclipsed here in the 4th house. Libra is 4 signs past Cancer. The 4th house has to do with mom, home, family, protection. Something's ending here overall. Something has to come to a close. So it could be with partners, you and a partner. Your work house is being implicated here. So that could also be it. Maybe some of you have to move for work, have to sell a house. Those are general themes here that could potentially come up for you. So let's see what's going on with Cancer. You're going to want, it's going to be an emotional time because Moon K2, difficult. That's a difficult combination. All right, let's see. Wheel of Fortune. So it's very karmic. Things are turning. We have all the fixed signs here in the corners. So that means this is the universe has fixed something for you that is going to change. So the wheel is turning, which means just go with it. It's not I always think the wheel is kind of a mixed card in my opinion. It could be unexpected fortune, something unexpectedly comes to an end. That's like just a huge load off of your back. That's on the good side. The other side is you got to go back and redo something, or you just got to let something go. It's a karmic end overall. The Wheel of Fortune is spinning. What side it lands on is completely up to you, Cancer. Leo. Leo, lunar eclipse will happen in your third house. Libra is 3 signs past Leo. The third house has to deal with your siblings, your competitors, marketing and selling out in the marketplace. The third house, in some respect, also has to do with coming together with people romantically. The third house has a lot to do with the mind as well. Maybe some of you are dealing with some mental health issues or looking at mental health overall and trying to get some stability with the situation. So keep that in mind. Third house is also your local environment, your local community, and where you're going around. So something there's changing. Moon for you is your 12th house. That's endings, intimacy. It could also be words. So watch your words over the next couple of weeks here, Leo, because that third house of communication is coming in hot. All right, let's see what card we have for Leo. Eight of Swords, not sure what to do, feeling bound and trapped and not having all of the information. So this is you spinning around in your head, not really sure what to do next. The answer here is wait, because the eclipse seasons always change things unexpectedly. So you making any drastic decisions right now are probably not the right move. You don't have all the information. The woman here is blindfolded. These eclipses, it's about the luminaries. It's about seeing. It will bring it to light. And remember, on the Vedic side, it has something to do with the hand, to grasp, to hold, seeing something for what it really is. So just wait. I wouldn't be making any drastic moves just quite yet, Leo. Virgo. Libra is 2 signs past Virgo. The second house has to deal with your resources, money, family, speech as well. This one's close to home. It's also what you're attracted to. So maybe attractions are changing. Moon is your 11th house ruler. This could have to deal with friends, your network circles, alliances. So look to those themes over the next couple of weeks. But this could have to do with money, unexpected expenses, or maybe a windfall too. Who knows, right? That second house has to do with possessions and resources. Be careful driving as well. Maybe some of you are looking at a car. That could come up here as well. Let's see what card we have for Virgo. 4 of Swords. So you're resting. You're gaining your strength after what might have been kind of a difficult ordeal. The 3 of Swords is up here. That could be a little bit of heartbreak from the past, but you're allowing yourself to heal and regain your resources. So I like that. Take your time here. That is actually the best advice. Clean up the house, do some spring cleaning. It's a good way of clearing the energy and lightening the load, especially if emotionally things have been very difficult. But this is also you clearing the mind, right? Getting clear about what it is you want. Again, that second house has to do with attraction. So maybe you're just rethinking your attractions. Maybe to people, maybe to certain situations. Think of this a little bit more broadly, but something's going on up here, Virgo. So keep the mind steady. Focus on spirituality. That is a great way to get through this eclipse season. Study astrology. That's a perfect example of this, actually. Take your time. I wouldn't be making any sudden moves, Virgo. All right, Libra. This is your lunar eclipse. This has to do with you and partnerships, your 7th house, the body, your image, your identity. Moon is your 10th house ruler, so this could also deal with work, your identity at work. Maybe some of you are changing positions or getting a different job. Something's not working out. Keep that in mind. Or maybe there's just too much fighting in the workplace. That very well could be it as well. So maybe some of you are going out on your own and you're done with corporate life. Maybe some of you are finishing some litigation too, right? Keep that in mind. It's something is coming to a karmic end. And maybe you're also thinking about body image and other things and wanting to get your health back in order. So those are also themes that come up here. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. 8 of Pentacles. Yeah, so you're building up your expertise. And this has to deal with work as well. So you're building the 8. You're getting close. I think this is kind of like needing to build up your expertise in something. It could be at work. That's usually where this comes out. But also financially with your resources. You need to hold on to resources, building those resources. That will be very important for you over the next couple of weeks. So just keep going, keep building, because the next card after the 8 is the 9, and that's where it's the woman standing in the garden looking at everything that she's got. But this could just be refocusing on skills of some type here for you. Keep that in mind. All right. Scorpio. This lunar eclipse in Libra is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is a hidden house. It's also a house of self-sabotage, sleep, study, research, and intimacy. So those are all themes that are coming out for you. So something is just coming to a karmic end there. Let's see what the cards have to say. Ooh, the Tower. Okay, so Scorpio, the Tower is always a shock and awe moment. It's the lovers falling out of the tower. It's thunder. So it's always a need to reestablish your foundation and what gives you stability and comfort. Remember, your opposite sign is Taurus, which is stability. So sometimes Scorpio can feel a little unstable in those deep waters of emotion and the mind. So it's needing to get that stability, and universe will take something out in order to provide that for you. So just take a lot of deep breaths, Scorpio. This won't be as bad as you think it is, but just remember the steady foundation is the key for everything with Scorpio. And if things just aren't steady, then universe is going to take it out and rebalance you. So hold on, Scorpio. It's going to be okay. Sag, lunar eclipse will happen in your 11th house. Libra is 11 signs past Sagittarius. This has to do with your networks, your allies, your friends, your group association. Something here is changing and being taken out. Something has to be transformed here overall. So look to that area of life, a rebalancing of sorts. Remember, Libra is always the scale. Something is not balanced in Libra. You gotta rebalance something out here with friends, allies, groups. So it is a karmic ending of sorts, but universe is taking it out for a reason. So Sag, let's see what the cards have to say. 10 of Cups. So 10 of Cups is, all that glitters is gold. Perhaps it's seeing something for what it truly is and kind of taking the rose-colored glasses off here. But this is definitely a sign of happiness. So it could be a windfall. It could be coming together with friends, enjoying the company of your allies. The 10 of Cups is one of the best cards in my opinion. So this is not a bad card at all. But this lunar eclipse is kind of weird. So remember that. Getting back to the ideal form, what does this look like? Maybe you just need to get, it's it's a couple here with some kids. Remember, you have to be friends with your loved ones too. I think we can be the harshest on the people that are closest to us. So remember, they're your friends too. They're supposed to be your friends. And in order to keep them around, you need to also make sure that you're providing and giving to them as well. So Sag, sometimes you have a tendency to overdo it. So, keeping a realistic perspective is going to help you here. Don't be living pie in the sky. Rainbows and unicorns and glitter is gold is great, but remember, you have to also be in reality. So it could be a win, could be a lot of happiness here too, but look to friendships. Capricorn. Lunar eclipse is going to happen in your 10th house. Libra is 10 signs past Capricorn. Career matters changing, career partners leaving, reorganizations, it's your reputation as well, so keep that in mind. Your outward appearance out in public, it is the most public place, so something on that front is changing for you, Capricorn. Let's see what we got for you. Oh, Chariot. Yeah, that's a victory. This is also related to home, movement, vehicles. So the 10th and the 4th house are being implicated here, Capricorn. That's where the eclipses will be occurring. So maybe some of you are changing jobs, moving for a job, getting a promotion, maybe even this is taking a victory lap of some type. So that's always a good thing. But with the Chariot, remember that this comes with a lot of hard work as well, and you got to move something. It's about seeing something and understanding what needs to go, because that's what eclipses are all about. So something's changing here, but hey, this is a great card overall. All right, Aquarius. Aquarius, this eclipse will happen in your 9th house of Libra. Libra's 9 signs past Aquarius. The 9th house has to deal with the higher mind, higher education, foreign travel, gurus, mentors, father figures. The 9th house is going the distance. Sometimes this has to do with like embattlement too, so keep that in mind as well. Too much, sometimes that's associated with just too much. So let's see what's going on with you, Aquarius. Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, you're looking to balance out security, finance, and stability. So the Knight of Pentacles is the most cautious of all the knights, and he's holding something out for you. So this could be an offer to have balance and stability in your life from someone. So overall, I really like the Knight of Pentacles. Maybe it's something far away from you, something from a distance. Could be an offer, could be a purchase of some type. Maybe that's just for some of you. But the Knight of Pentacles is very much concerned about his security. And how are you going to manage your security? Maybe some of you are going back to school or getting a higher degree to feel that sense of security, right? So, because there's a lot happening in Pisces right now, which is your 2nd house of money. So you're looking at money, finances overall, and looking for that sense of security. And the lesson here is always take your time. The Knight of Pentacles doesn't move very fast. He's looking out at the landscape and deciding where to go next, right? He's not charging in like some other knights. So take your time. That's going to be the most important news for you. All right, and Pisces, your last on the list. Pisces, this lunar eclipse will happen in your 8th house. Libra's 8 signs past Pisces. The 8th house has to do with joint finances. What's mine? What's yours? Hidden things, transformation. It's also a house of power. So it's a very transformative time for you overall. Could have to do with education, children, romance, because Moon rules Cancer, and Moon is your 5th house. So and it's headed into Libra. So something here is changing. So maybe, maybe there's 3 in a crowd here, if you get my drift. The 8th house can be difficult. This also has to deal with taxes, things owed to other people, karmic debts. So not an easy one necessarily, but the good news is that it's done and over with. And then something new occurs in that 2nd house of money, resources, what you're attracted to 2 weeks later. So just give it some time. 8th house can be difficult for eclipses overall, because it usually has to do with joint ventures and other people. So Pisces, let's see what's on deck for you. You have the Hierophant. So Hierophant has to do with organizations, institutions, but I also think this has to do with devotion. The Hierophant is more about being committed to something. So maybe some of you are looking at organized religion, your own religious beliefs of some type here, maybe the religious beliefs of, this is just for some of you, but like father-in-law, mother-in-law, maybe that's causing a little bit of issues here, but there's a need for devotion, or there is a lack of devotion, or a lack of commitment. Maybe some of you are not ready for commitment, or the person you're seeing is not ready for commitment, and the luminaries will shine a light on that. But this also has potentially to do with institutions, marriage. This can be a marriage card. But usually it has to do with faith. So maybe your faith here is being tested. But remember, lunar eclipses, this is it. Like, you don't really have to do too much more. The universe is just going to say, hey, this is done and over with. So not a bad card, but this might test your faith a little bit. All right, so that's everyone. Keep in mind here, the easiest way to get through, in my opinion, this particular lunar eclipse is to listen. Listen. Less talking, more listening. That will help a lot of us, including me. So no one gets through this one unscathed in some way. Remember, K2 takes things down. It's liberation and freedom. Spirituality. It's a great time to get a tarot card reading. I'll leave my email in the comments or in the description box. If some of you would like a reading, we can do that. I can take a look at your chart as well, see what's going on. I read Western and Vedic. If you're interested, I don't mix the two, but I'm going to give you a sense of what this is. And you hear me, doing a lot with my hands today. So remember, in Vedic astrology, it has something to do with the hands. And Hasta, where the nakshatra, where this lunar eclipse is located, can be a master manipulator, fraudster. So you all can draw your own conclusions about that and what's happening in the news, but things are coming to light, and it's going to be things taken down in some way. So just keep that in mind. Listen. This is about listening. Other than that, I hope you're all doing well, and leave me a comment how this all goes for you. I'm gonna try and do the solar eclipse in 2 weeks too, because that's gonna impact America, and we're gonna see a lot of leaders exit stage left over the next couple of months. So I hope you're all well. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.